right? Relatively no change. I mean, we did get a little bit of a bid that came in the market yesterday, um, rallied all the way up here at the close yesterday, just under 4,800. And but when we zoom out, which is something that we want to do every single day, we see that on the monthly, there's relatively no change, right? We are still trading inside the previous month's range. We are trading higher. We did get that close above that 47.68, right? That's something that we talked about yesterday. A close above that 47.68 would be a sign of strength for the market, and we got that yesterday. Switching over to the weekly, we can see we got a cessation of one time framing yesterday coming into the weekly, or not a cessation of one time framing. Excuse me. We just traded above the previous week's high, but yesterday we had talked about, because it was a new week, if we were to trade above that weekly settle, we need to look out for momentum traders being stuck short. And we got that move yesterday. It actually continued a lot farther than I thought it was going to continue. We did, once we, it was just a bunch of short covering just kept coming in. But it was nice because we were expecting that. We stayed on the long side all day. For those of you guys that are with us, day in and day out, there should have been really no opportunity for shorts at all yesterday. Switching over to the daily, you can see we got the cessation of one time framing. We're traded back above that 9 SMA. Remember we talked about that, and then talked about this 20 SMA. We know a lot of people out there, technical people, are trading these moving averages. That tends to cause, some drastic moves sometimes when they get a little bit off sides. So as far as today goes, right, we're basically back into this upper balance. We had talked about this yesterday. We're in this balance. We'd had these 2 days hanging below. We had said if we get another close below the 68, the odds of coming down to that 4,700 are pretty significant. Market said no thank you. Luckily, we were able to stay on sides yesterday with our +4, -4 on the weekly and get a nice rally, honestly. Come back up here and kind of clean up some of these references. So switching over to the profiles now, one thing that we want to be aware of, or we'll just do a little bit of review. Yesterday, right, and this is a key thing that we want to be paying attention to, we were given some signals early that the selling was weak. And if you were in the Zoom with us, we talked about this. A period opens up, B period low does not take the open. That's kind of a +1 for weakness of sellers. Then this CD low that failed to fill these single prints down here is a sign of weak selling. Then, we just one time framed up for the rest of the day, some more single prints right in an area that I had marked as a possible sell zone. Obviously, we're not just selling zones blindly. That's just not how it works. But market blasted through that. So I would say we were probably right. That was a liquidity zone. Sellers weren't present. They just decided to cover and then continued to one time into the close, ending spike. Now, coming over into the overnight session, we can see overnight inventory is 100% net short. Actually, we did get a settle above. It was a +4 day yesterday. You can see now we're kind of trading at the low, or not kind of, we are trading at the low. And so as far as today goes, it'll be a little bit of an interesting day. Got our value area, and on these real expanded days, something I like to do, go over to my profile. I like to switch my value area to 50% to see 50% of the range. So now we can kind of see where 50% of this range is at. So you can see the real meat of the move, right? Especially on a trend day, it's really hard to kind of narrow down where actual taking place. And so we can see just from about like 75 down to 48 is kind of our meat and potatoes kind of coming into that right now. And so right? Play number one or play number two possibly setting up here regardless. It's looking like the value area high is going to be breaks. And a key thing here that you want to be paying attention to is this 68 level because we're so close to it. It's been in equilibrium and market's been drawn pool. So if we are going to get long today, it's going to have to be with caution because yesterday was a +4 day, right? And so +4, we know that we need to be cautious with any longs below the settle. Okay. Of course, above the settle, we definitely don't want to be short. And so what I'm looking for today really is kind of a pullback down into this 68 and to find buyers immediately. Start pulling up towards this 84, towards where we had that kind of sell zone where that liquidity block was at to see if they do want to try to reoffer here. Because you think about it like this: if you're smart, right, and most traders are not smart, most retail traders are not smart. They saw the speeding bullet yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to get in front of it. Fuck it, I'll just get out of the way." And then the market just squeezed up. Well, if they still like the area to sell, which was like 80 to 88 area, if they still like this area to sell, well, then they're going to get that opportunity today, most likely. So they could come in today because the momentum has kind of shifted, right? The momentum was up yesterday and now it's a new day. So there is no necessarily as much momentum as yesterday. Yesterday was a great example of why you don't step in front of a short cover rally, why we don't try to call tops here, call turns here. You don't try to be a hero. Typically, you do, it's just going to end badly. We're short yesterday, probably didn't do well. If you did, you just got lucky. That's just a fact. If you don't think that's true, then just look in the mirror and um, you know, yesterday's a great day to review to not to to see what a real trend day is like because we haven't really had a big trend day. We've got some quick trends and then they've been reversing lately. Yesterday was just a full on one time frame all day trend day. So a good day to add to your book of review. Now on the flip side here, this is what I'm saying. It's being a cautious long with this 68. Right? I need to see buyers, or I need to see buyers right away. This and maybe a nice overnight inventory correction, but this is still going to be kind of a sticky situation or kind of a trick play, and that rally off the overnight needs to get above, I think, above this separation of these overnight distributions because the overnight session basically traded like this, and then once it finally broke, now it's kind of trading down like this. And so if their buyers are serious, they need to get accepted back up into this upper distribution and come back up here and get this settled. Failure to do that, I think, causes a roll back over, bounce around this 68. Like I said, I think it's a day to be very cautious. Today, we will be using about 24. So you got about a 5 point stop today, right? If anything gets against you 5 points or more, you're probably in the wrong position and evaluate. Let's say we don't get that overnight inventory correction. We open up, we trade back down to the 68 and then start to continue down. I think the best thing you can do is probably be patient because the market should slow down or get a little bit back and forth inside here. We break that value area low first, then there might be some opportunity to go with that and target towards yesterday's untouched settle or the previous day's untouched settle from the 5th. Inside here, like I said, inside from about like that 75 to 55 to 48, probably get a pretty choppy market, especially after the little bit of drama that came out yesterday. I'm still not sold on the fact that yesterday was real intense buying. It Get 1.3, 1.0, 1.2 at the low. Yesterday's volume was only a million on the way up. If it was strong buying, I think they would get that continuation, especially in the after. Spike rules, right? Typically, if we open up below the spike, it's showing that these higher prices were rejected. That's also something to kind of think about. We do have that 48.20, which is our +4 on the monthly. Above that, you definitely short. You need to be very cautious. Shorts above that level as the momentum starts to kick back on. Now, that being said, remember what we like to draw from the weekly, right? Something I always talk about is get our first sign of change on a weekly chart, or first sign of significant change on a weekly chart. So what we can see here really is so far just kind of a 2-week balance after one time framing, get a cessation of one time framing. Now the market has kind of gone into this balancing mode. So if the market is going to get continuation, that 48.20 is going to be the here. So if we get a bid above that 48.20, then we can kind of jump back on the bull. Until then, we're in a weekly balance. So we need to be cautious and unbiased, trade what the market gives. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure that you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan, and I will see you guys